I've switched to the Moto Edge 30 Pro 2 weeks ago, and this is a very nice budget flagship smartphone that costs $570 or 2,499 ringgit in Malaysia. I can definitely see myself using it as my main driver for the rest of 2022 because it packs so many practical features and a clean software experience that's hard to find on other Android flagships. Until the fact that I'm even willing to forgive some of its shortcomings. So here's my review of the Moto Edge 30 Pro. Compared to the competition, the Moto Edge 30 Pro may not look as flashy, but it still looks very attractive when viewed in person. My unit is the Cosmos blue color, which I really like as it comes with a Gorilla Glass 5 back with a frosted material that doesn't attract fingerprints and it shimmers when in contact with light. Aesthetically, the phone offers a really good grip and has decent weight distribution that doesn't feel too heavy to hold for long durations. Although the power button and volume rocker are positioned a little too tall for my thumb to reach comfortably, that's something I got used to after a while. The phone also features a water-repellent design, so it will definitely survive from accidental spills on the table. The Edge 30 Pro features a flat 6.7-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display that refreshes at 144Hz and displays over 1 billion colors. It is HDR10 Plus certified and I find it to be bright enough for outdoors. But unlike the glass back, Motorola uses Corning Gorilla Glass 3 for the display, which is a weird and an unattractive decision, as similar priced devices are already using either Gorilla Glass 5 or Victus for their displays. It also uses a plastic frame instead of aluminum. But to be honest, these are hardly deal breakers if you are a careless smartphone user and have the appropriate protection put on since day one. Although the display isn't an LTPO panel, the phone uses software to automatically switch between 144Hz and 60Hz depending on the task you are doing, which unlike most other phones, it can be inconsistent and annoying as it switches to the slower refresh rate when you least want it. But I leave it that way so that I can conserve battery life. The display's polling rate is really good and the haptics are very precise and comfortable, just like what you would expect from a flagship phone. The Moto Edge 30 Pro has decent stereo speakers that's enhanced by Dolby Atmos. They sound really loud and plays vocals and high frequencies very well. It however lacks a bit of punchiness in bass, but isn't something I would consider as garbage. So here's how they sound like. Powering the Edge 30 Pro is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, complemented by 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Storage sadly isn't expandable over microSD, but you'll be consoled to know that system files merely takes up 15GB of space and there isn't any bloatware preloaded. Hence, you are left with generous amount of usable storage unlike the S22 Ultra. General performance is excellent, just like what you would usually experience on other modern flagships with snappy and responsive app launchers and switches. That's also thanks to the almost stock user experience that Motorola has shipped on top of Android 12. And in spite of that, it packs a ton of software tricks that I use a lot, such as the classic chop gesture that turns on the flashlight, and twist the phone to launch the camera app and switch between the front and rear cameras. A double tap on the power button gets me to my favorite apps from anywhere on the screen, a 3 tap and hold, take a screenshot, and last but not least, the Ready For feature, which lets you use the phone's camera as your computer's webcam and use it like a desktop computer like Samsung's DeX when connected to an external display. Gaming on the Moto Edge 30 Pro is very impressive, and unlike the Xiaomi 12 Pro and S22 Ultra, it runs Genshin Impact at 60 frames per second effortlessly and doesn't scalp my hands even after gaming for 30 minutes. It also has a game time feature that gamers will find it useful for an uninterrupted gaming experience, while being able to stream the game to Twitch and screen record a gameplay with very minimal lags. You can also launch your supported messaging apps such as WhatsApp and Discord on a floating window if you want to quickly chat with your teammates without getting out of the game. The Edge 30 Pro's triple camera system is unfortunately a downgrade from the Edge 20 Pro, but they aren't terrible cameras. You get a 50MP f1.8 primary lens with OIS that also takes macro shots, a 50MP ultra-wide lens, and a 2MP depth sensor that replaces the 5x optical zoom lens on the Edge 20 Pro. Fortunately, image quality from the primary lens is decent with good detail and natural color saturation with sufficient light. Low light performance is also acceptable with very minimal noise levels and loss in detail. The ultra-wide camera unfortunately suffers from soft focus and loss of detail when used indoors and during low light, which is expected, but it remains serviceable in good lighting. In terms of video recording, the Moto Edge 30 Pro's primary camera records videos up to 8K resolution at 30 frames. But there's surprisingly no 4K 60 recording option for the 16:9 aspect ratio, and the option is only available when you shoot videos in the 20:9 aspect ratio, aka 3.2K. The ultra-wide lens is also limited to 1080p resolution, which is really strange considering the hardware is more than capable of doing so. But otherwise, video quality is really good and stabilized. The Moto Edge 30 Pro features a 60MP front-facing camera, and I think this is the best selfie camera that I have seen on a flagship Android phone. It takes 4K videos as well, which is what you're seeing right now, and the image quality is really good as you can see, with decent audio recording as well. So this is a really great phone for vlogging if you're thinking to use a smartphone for doing that. Like other Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 smartphones, the Moto Edge 30 Pro's 4800 mAh battery can be easily exhausted within the day if you are pushing it with heavy gaming and have high refresh rate turned on. It can last more than a day when used moderately with a 3-hour screen on time, and I am most impressed by its standby battery life. Battery percentage merely dropped 4% during my 8-hour bedtime and would have doubled if it was the S22 Ultra. I'm also glad that it supports 30 watts USB PD charging on top of its proprietary 68 watt turbo power fast charging, which is why I never really find the phone's battery life an issue even when I had a busy day. Also, the Moto Edge 30 Pro supports 15 watts wireless fast charging and 5 watts reverse wireless charging, beating other Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 phones of the same class. In a nutshell, the Moto Edge 30 Pro has got what it takes to challenge its competitors with very little compromises that aren't deal breakers. This is an extremely worthy Android flagship phone that I highly recommend, and it's just a shame Lenovo isn't doing much here to market this phone, which is probably why it is priced so low compared to the rest. This is the real flagship killer of 2022, and I really hope Motorola continues to deliver such flagships in the future. So that's all for my review of the Moto Edge 30 Pro. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and be sure to give us a thumbs up if you love what you saw, and be sure to stay subscribed to our channel as well for more tech videos coming right up. We have recently started a new series called Automation, where we feature tips and tricks, reviews on smart home products, and it is the very first time that we are covering this on the channel. So be sure to stay subscribed for that, and I'll see you guys in our next video.